It is a matter of shame that recently the Afghanistan's foreign minister was visiting India, and I mean he has been designated as a terrorist by United Nations. So the Indian government had to take the permission of United Nations to invite him. And in his press conference held in Delhi, women journalists were not allowed. Now, the technical reason being given is that the press conference was organized by the Afghanistan government, and it was their jurisdiction, the area where the press conference was held, and therefore, they had a right to do as they wanted to do. But everybody knows the Taliban's views on women. Women are not allowed to be educated in Afghanistan. Recently, books written by women authors have been removed from the libraries in the universities in Afghanistan, and essentially they are not allowed to play any role in public life. Women can't play sports, they can't participate in theater, music is out of question. So essentially, we are confining them to homes. Now, everybody knew about this before Taliban was handed over power by the United States. And in spite of this, Taliban was handed over power, and the same United States which handed over the power to Taliban considers Hamas a terrorist organization and would like to disband it, would like to help the Israeli government disband it, and does not recognize the rule of Hamas in Gaza, whereas Hamas has contested election in 2006, and then they formed a government. And they want to clear Gaza of Hamas. They are offering safe passage to Hamas leaders outside Gaza. So on one hand, they don't recognize an organization which contests elections, forms governments, and puts up resistance against Israel, fights against Israel to save the existence of Palestine. And on the other hand, Taliban is treated in a normal fashion as any other government. And well, the United States may do whatever it has to do. There are a lot of questions on its policies. But what about the Indian government? India prides itself in being a democracy. We value human rights, and we value the Constitution of India, which has values of equality, justice, liberty, fraternity inscribed in it. But in spite of that, we have allowed Taliban government to hold a press conference in which women were barred. And the Indian government has not said a word about it. So the question is that there is discrimination on the basis of number of things like caste, religion, race, gender. It is there in the society. Everybody knows it. The organization which is supposed to be a guiding force behind BJP, the RSS, Rashtriya Swayamsevak Sangh, itself does not admit women member. A Muslim can be a member of RSS, but not a woman, not a woman. So there is discrimination in our society as well. And interestingly, the women's organization of the Hindutva stream is called Rashtriya Sevika Sangh. So they have a separate organization for women, but the concept of voluntarism is not applied to women. So for men you have Swayamsevak, and for women we have Sevika. So a woman can be only a servant of man. She cannot be a volunteer like a man. So the discrimination inherent in the thinking of the ideology of RSS is very clear. So it is no surprise that they allowed Taliban to hold a press conference in which women were barred, women journalists. The patriarchal thinking, I think, is the common factor between Taliban and the Hindutva. So it is no surprise. But as citizens of India, we must resist it, we must protest against it, and we must make sure that this kind of thing doesn't happen again. So the basic question is, if you are against discrimination of race, based on the basis of race, if we boycotted South Africa because of its apartheid policies, because they were practicing racism in South Africa, the entire world boycotted them. So how can you tolerate discrimination based on gender? If you are against discrimination based on caste, there is a law in this country. If you're against discrimination based on religion, because India is a secular country, you can't discriminate anybody on the basis of their religion. So discrimination based on gender also cannot be allowed, and what has happened is really shameful. We must hold the same kind of standards that we have demonstrated in the past, and if we can take a strict stand against discrimination based on race, then we have to also take a stand against discrimination based on gender. Gender equality is an ideal being pursued by Indian society. Dr. Ram Manohar Lohia, in his 7 revolutions, Sapt Kranti, put gender equality on top at number 1. That is how important he considered it to be. Some people say that among all discriminations based on various things, the one based on gender will be the last one to go, which means it is the most difficult one to fight. So we have to recognize this, and we have to constantly keep trying that this bias on the basis of gender doesn't exist in our society. It is very heartening that since the time Savitribai Phule opened the first school for girls in Pune in 1848, which is not very long back, it's just less than 2 centuries. We have progressed so much that today women are there in every field, which were considered to be the domain of men earlier. This is a remarkable achievement in India, considering the status of women 2 centuries back. So we must continue with this progress, and we must make sure that women are represented, at least in proportion to their population, which means half of the positions in public life, in educational institutions, in judiciary, police, army, elected representatives. Half of these, should be visibly women, if not more. So in educational institutions today, we see that women are coming in large numbers. In services also, you do see women. But in public life, in politics especially, women have not come up in the way they should have. And we hope that, this will happen in due course of time. And when there are sufficient number of women in public life, in politics, then hopefully the kind of incident which has happened in New Delhi, in the press conference of Taliban former foreign minister, will not be allowed in India. Indian government should have told upfront to the Taliban government that this will be not allowed in India. But it is very shocking, very shameful for the government in power at this time that they relented and they gave in to the demand of the Taliban government. The Socialist Party of India condemns it. We uphold the principles of Dr. Lohia, and we think that gender equality is something which must be given top priority among all the discriminations that we are fighting against in the Indian society. Thank you.